Great to be here. And what I want to do is I'm going to put myself so I'm just part of the gallery so I can see you all. I hate looking at just myself. It's very scary to look in the mirror these days for me, let me tell you. But we're going to be searching for a few things. One thing is, do you all remember how to laugh? I mean, it's been kind of a while, right, since we really laughed, but we can maybe even see things now that are kind of funny. And with what's going on in the world, what we've been through the last 2 years with COVID, it's going to be hard to chuckle. But I'm going to sort of just maybe, because as a professor, I have very few powers, I can give you a special dispensation for the next hour and a half that you have absolutely carte blanche, the green light to just laugh your heart out if you feel you want to at some of these scenes. Not all of them will be funny to everybody, because as you know, we divide people and our friends into certain categories, right? We divide those people into, oh, Joe has a great sense of humor, right? And then we'll say something like, well, Mary has a poor sense of humor, he has a terrible sense of humor. What that really comes down to is that everything I say where I intend to be funny, Joe finds funny. So therefore, Joe has a great sense of humor. Mary doesn't seem to find my jokes funny. Therefore, she has a terrible, lousy sense of humor. That's sort of how it works out. But in this one, we were going to sort of test you because comedy is part of the fashion of its time. I mean, already Blazing Saddles is a movie that I can't show you certain scenes that I would have shown just a few years ago because, they're going to be offensive to people in this moment. But the movie, in its intention in 1974, was to actually go after the racist, right, individuals that plague and continue to plague our society. But now, strangely enough, but I mean, that's just how things change, how it's perceived, how it's digested, is that the film is racist and that Mel Brooks is rather racist. So we're going to see some of these guys, but I'm going to start with a quote, because what we're going to be looking for is a definition, the best definition of comedy. I'm going to give you some quotes from some of the great comedy practitioners, right? People like Charlie Chaplin, Mel Brooks, those people. But I'm going to start with one that's from someone that you might not expect, but it's an interesting insight. This person said this: in the midst of great tragedy, there is always the horrible possibility that something terribly funny will happen, right? In the midst of great tragedy, there is always the horrible possibility that something terribly funny will happen. Well, that was actually spoken by Philip K. Dick. He was mainly known as a dystopian science fiction writer, but I'm going to turn to my friend Alan Alda right now to sort of give you a definition of comedy, all right? And I think it's pretty interesting.
I love New York. It's like thousands of straight lines just looking for a punchline, And what makes New York such a funny place is that there's so much tension and pain and misery and craziness here. And that's the first part of comedy. But see, you got to get some distance from it. You know what I mean? That the thing to remember about comedy is if it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not funny. So you got to get back from the pain. You see what I mean? But like they asked me up in at Harvard, a bunch of kids asked me, what's comedy? So I said, and then this is part of what I'm trying to say about getting back from it. I said comedy is tragedy plus time. Tragedy plus time. See, when the night Lincoln was shot, you couldn't joke about it. You couldn't make a joke about that. You just couldn't do it. Now time has gone by, and now it's fair game. See what I mean? It's tragedy plus time.
Okay, we're out.
That's it. So fast?
I shut up 10 rolls on your first question.
Okay, so, all right. So if you know Crimes and Misdemeanors, right? The character that Alan Alda plays, but tragedy plus time, that's what comedy is. That's an interesting insight. I don't know any jokes that come to that flood to my mind about, Lincoln's assassination that I can share with you that you would find funny, but I sort of get what his point is. So now we're going to sort of test. We're going to go back 101 years or 100 years. We're going to go back to Charlie Chaplin. We're going to see if you find this enjoyable. I'm not saying you're going to be rolling in the aisles the way audiences clearly rolled in the aisles 100 years ago, because you have that sophisticated perch of all this distance away from when the actual film was made in 1921, where you can sort of lord over this movie, your, well, sort of, right, evolved sense of comedy and taste that you have in comedy. But it would be great if it can make you at least chuckle in places. Charlie Chaplin said that life is tragedy when seen in close-up, but it's a comedy in long shot. He also said, all I need to make a comedy is a park, a policeman, and a pretty girl. In this one, well, you're going to see there's a policeman. And I guess one of his best, well, I'll save that for the other side of it. Let's go to 100 years ago. Young Jackie Coogan is incredible right here. And here you go. I love the way it irises out, right? You don't really see that technique anymore. What do you think of that? If you want to come on, what did you think of something that's 100 years old? Was it still enjoyable? Was that still fun to watch? I mean, maybe for some of you look like oil paintings, but I mean, I know COVID, you just can't laugh at anything. But yeah, well, let's go and test you some more, all right? Let's go, well, why don't we go to this guy, right? Mel Brooks. Now, Mel Brooks, who's pretty controversial in certain ways these days, I said, once said, the only weapon I've got is comedy. That's his quote. And he said, you can laugh at Hitler because you can cut him down to normal size. But by using the medium of comedy, we can try to rob Hitler of his posthumous power and myths. He went further to say that tragedy is when I cut my finger. This is Mel Brooks. Comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. All right, so you know his sensibility. Let's go to the producers.
Smell it? See it? Touch it, touch it.
What is it?
What is it? We've struck gold. Not fool's gold, but real gold. The mother lode. The mother lode. The mother of them all. Kiss it, kiss it.
You found a flop.
A flop. That's putting it mildly. We found a disaster, catastrophe, an outrage. A guaranteed to close in one night beauty.
Let's see it.
Let's see. This is freedom for one forever. This is a house in the country. This is a Rolls Royce and a Bentley. This is wine, women, and song, and women.
Now, what's their plan? Broadway plays open, and sometimes they're successful, and sometimes, especially back in the age of Frank Rich, he could close a show with his review, right? Opening night, boom, it's closed the next day because it got a bad review. And what happens? The money that those backers put in when a show fails, it's just lost, and they know they're taking a risk. So they come up with the ingenious plan that if we go to more than one backer, don't let the backers know that we're going to many backers simultaneously. And if we get money from them, and then we make sure that we have a flop, so we don't have to share in any of the profits, the play will flop. Nobody's going to say, hey, that's the risk I took. But we now have, well, several backers that put in so much money that the lion's share of the money that's left over, we just keep it because we just needed one backer for the production. We've got 6 backers, we got 4 backers, whatever it is. And so it is a pretty clever little plan. So they have to find a really horrible play that is guaranteed to close on opening night. And this is the script that they think is going to do it for them.
Springtime for Hitler. A gay romp with Adolf and Eva at Berchtesgaden. Wow.
Wow. It's practically a love letter to Hitler.
This won't run a week.
A week? Are you kidding? This play has got to close on page 4.
Germany was having trouble, what a sad, sad story. Needed a new leader to restore its former glory. Where, oh, where was he? Where could that man be? We looked around, and then we found the man for you and me. And now it's springtime for Hitler and Germany. Deutschland is happy and gay. We're marching to a faster pace. Look out, here comes the master race. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Winter for Poland and France. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Come on, Germans, go into your dance. I was born in Dusseldorf, and that is why they call me Rolf.
Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. 2 steps, 1 new step today. Bombs falling from the skies again. Deutschland is on the rise again. Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
And so what you get is that ceiling shot of like a Busby Berkeley, right, production from the 1930s. Pretty funny, if that's your sensibility, right? That's Mel Brooks. So what is Mel Brooks? Well, his humor comes out of being so irreverent, right? Others are going to have more broad comedy. As I said, some will be more slapstick, some might be more dark, others are into mockumentary. There's all kinds of modes, but it comes down to what Joe Orton said about comedy. And he said this, the British playwright. He said, comedy, and I quote, is serious business. And that's why tyrants fear it. Comedy is serious business, and that's why tyrants fear it. Interestingly enough, the president of Ukraine was a comedian. He was someone who was a performer in comedies. And I've seen some of the irreverent comedies where they, well, I don't even want to tell you, right? But they've been sent to me. But now look how serious he has to be, and look how serious he is being with what's going on in his country under siege by Putin and the Russian army. So I'm going to show you a little bit more of our friend Mel Brooks because, well, maybe you'll understand maybe why in the present moment, you know, in this culture, it's hard to sort of take him. But again, I really don't think any of these films were made to hurt people. I thought they were made to kind of make fun of the people that would talk like this, that would use this kind of language, which is totally inappropriate, racist and unfair. But here you go.
Hey, go there! Hey, you're back there!
Come on, boys! The way you lollygagging around here with them picks and them shovels, you'd think it was 120 degrees. Can't be more than 114. Dock that chink a day's pay for napping on the job.
Yes, sir.
Now come on, boys. Where's your spirit? I don't hear no singing. When you was slaves, you sang like birds. Come on, how about a good old nigger work song?
I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true that I get a belt out of you? Some get a kick from cocaine.
Hold it, hold it. What the hell is that shit? I'm in a song, a real song. Something like, swing low, sweet chariot.
Swing low, chariot.
Don't know that one, huh? Well, how about the Camptown Ladies?
The Camptown Ladies.
Oh, you know. The Camptown Ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, all the doo-dah day. Why run all night? Why run all day? Better find money on the bobtail egg, somebody bet on the bay. Why run all night? Why run all day? Better find money on the bobtail egg.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? I had you people try to get a little track lead.
So anyway, you get the idea. But you can sort of see how over time certain things change. And so, you know, he's going after clearly the stupid white cowboys. But I was fortunate to have once upon a time in New York City dinner with Cleavon Little. He was a good friend of the sister of a friend of mine. And the three of us went out, and he said he always wished that Mel Brooks had made a sequel to Blazing Saddles. But I have to say, I don't know what Western tropes were left that he didn't like demolish throughout the course of the movie of Blazing Saddles. I mean, where would he go? It would have been a letdown, because the sequels usually are not as good as the originals. Best to sort of let it go. But we're going to move right along, and okay, let me go back to that. Okay, let me get to, sorry. Well, enough for Blazing Saddles. There's a lot of Blazing Saddles in there. All right, so a little comparison and contrast here with humor.
Come on, get him back down there. Raise them high.
Parody. This is parody.
Gonna see Miss Eliza. Gonna go to Mississippi. Gonna see Miss Eliza.
Gonna see Miss Liza.
Gonna go to Mississippi.
Gonna go to Mississippi. Gonna see Miss Liza. Gonna go to Mississippi. Gonna see Miss Liza. Gonna go to Mississippi. Gonna see Miss Liza.
Gonna see Miss Eliza.
So, you get it, right? I'm going to give you another example of parody, right? Just to remember how parody works in comedy. So I'll give you the original and then show you the, oh, that's coming up. Show you the parody. Oops. So that's the original, right? And this is the parody. Well, I'll go one further. I'll give you this. So this will show you how closely these parodies want to come to the original.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else I can get you, sir?
Oh, yes, my newspaper. What happened to my newspaper?
Oh, the newsstand didn't have any. I didn't feel like running around a corner. It's a hassle.
I want that newspaper. It's very important.
All right, I'll get your paper. I'll get your paper.
Hassle. Don't forget!
All right. What's so important about a lousy, crummy newspaper?
That kid gets no tip.
Okay. So, a little bit of sobering humor will be this one. Dr. Strangelove. I don't know if it's a favorite of yours, certainly a favorite of mine. But with what's going on right now in Russia, with talk about a World War III, nuclear warheads might be, threatening to be used in this conflict with Ukraine, a movie like this definitely has relevance in the way it reasserts itself over time, that the issues that it's going after are issues that we're still plagued with today. And again, that quote, that comedy is serious business, and that's why tyrants fear it. Yes, I mean, Putin is a tyrant, and comedy, right, is something that you can never have a Saturday Night Live version of Putin in Russia performing. He would be arrested and jailed. So what we have here is, as you know, there's been a launch on Russia with B-52 bombers because a general kind of, exceeded his authority. And this is the meeting in the war room with the President of the United States.
Mr. President, about 35 minutes ago, General Jack Ripper, the commanding general of Burleson Air Force Base, issued an order to the 34 B-52s of his wing, which were airborne at the time, as part of a special exercise we were holding called Operation Dropkick. Now, it appears that the order called for the planes to attack their targets inside Russia. The planes are fully armed with nuclear weapons with an average load of 40 megatons each. Now, the central display of Russia will indicate the position of the planes. The triangles are their primary targets. The squares are their secondary targets. The aircraft will begin penetrating Russian radar cover within 25 minutes.
General Turgidson, I find this very difficult to understand. I was under the impression that I was the only one in authority to order the use of nuclear weapons.
That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so. And although I hate to judge before all the facts are in, it's beginning to look like General Ripper exceeded his authority.
It certainly does.
Right. So, what we have here is...
You want to talk to the President of the United States?
I don't want to talk to him, Colonel. I've got to talk to him. And I can assure you, if you don't put that gun away and stop this stupid nonsense, the court of inquiry on this will give you such a pranging, You'll be lucky if you end up wearing the uniform of a bloody toilet attendant.
Okay, go ahead. Try and get the President of the United States on the phone. If you try any perversions in there, I'll blow your head off.
Now, this is a very famous phone call because what has happened in Dr. Strangelove is the general at this base committed suicide after he launched all the B-52 bombers. I mean, in other words, ordered them to attack Russia. He gave them the go code. That cannot be, in any way, that order cannot be superseded by any other command unless they have the special 3-code prefix, which they don't have. But he figured out what it was. Something that was a secret to the general. He figured it out. And now he's got to get to the president and get through to the president immediately so they can issue the go code, call everyone back. And the base is under attack by American soldiers, and they're putting up a resistance because the general said anybody who comes will be dressed like American soldiers, and we have to defend the base. So it's like ferocious fighting. What is powerful about this movie is that all of the fighting sequences look like documentary war footage. They're real, the ricocheting bullets, the sound of the machine gun fire, the way things blow up, not a comedy at all. He actually uses real like combat situations. Stanley Kubrick in this moment. And so here he is trying to get through to the president, and well, you can imagine now what's going to happen. Because of course he can save the world if they just, get the go code and issue it.
Operator, this is Group Captain Lionel Mandrake. I'm speaking from Burleson Air Force Base. Look, something very urgent has come up, and I want you to place an emergency person-to-person call with President Marc Muffley in the Pentagon, Washington, D.C. Burleson 39180. No, I'm perfectly serious, Operator. The President, yes, the President of the United States. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't got enough change. Could you make this a collect call, Operator? Just 1 second, Operator. They won't accept the call. Have you got 55 cents?
Well, you don't think I'd go into combat with loose change in my pocket, do you?
Operator, look, is it possible to make this an ordinary trunk call? Well, what do you call it? Station to station. Oh, blast. I'm still 20 cents short. Operator, hold on. I'll try and keep you a second. Colonel, that Coca-Cola machine, I want you to shoot the lock off it. There may be some change in there.
That's private property.
Colonel, can you possibly imagine what is going to happen to you, your frame, outlook, way of life, and everything, when they learn that you have obstructed a telephone call to the President of the United States? Can you imagine? Shoot it off! Shoot with a gun! That's what the bullets are for, you twit!
Okay. I'm going to get your money for you. But if you don't get the President of the United States on that phone, you know what's going to happen to you?
What?
You're going to have to answer to the Coca-Cola company.
And you know what? That might be actually worse than answering to the Russians. That's a suggestion. Oh man, now you're really going to get in trouble. So we're going to get more now into our era, because it is true that some of those comedies from the old days don't quite pack the kind of comic punch. Well, these ones certainly are in your rearview mirror. And here we have John Landis directing Animal House, starring John Belushi.
I gave my love a cherry that had no stone. I gave my love a chicken that had no bones. I gave my love a story that had
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. Laugh now, because you clowns have been on double secret probation since the beginning of this semester.
Double secret probation?
And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be. Now, I don't claim to be an A student, but I'm trying to be. For maybe by being an A student, baby, I can win your love for me. Don't know much about history, don't know much biology, don't know much about a science book, don't know much about the French I took, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. La ta 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 ta. History. Biology. Oh, la ta 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 ta. French I took. Yeah, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
I do hope we're not interrupting anything, Mandy, honey.
Well, you must know.
Eric was just leaving.
Oh, no, I wasn't. Well, I could make you leave if you asked me. Pluto! Hey, I think you know everybody here.
Wait, really, can't you?
Oh, no, don't worry. Just keep your hands and feet away from his mouth.
Don't you have any respect for yourself?
This is absolutely gross. That boy is a P.I.G. pig.
See if you can guess what I am now. I'm a zit. Get it?
All right, you bastard, let's go right here.
Hey! What's this lying around shit?
Well, what the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
War's over, man. Wormer dropped the big one.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough,
Ay, ay, ay. So I'm going to now take you to John Cleese. We're going to go across the pond, little British humor. And what did John Cleese say about comedy? He said, a wonderful thing about true laughter is that it just destroys any kind of system of dividing people. It just destroys any kind of system of dividing people. Well, when they made this production, they actually forgot to put in the budget the money for the horses that they were going to need. They just forgot. It's kind of like there's an old myth that Swarthmore College, they made blueprints and built the library, and they forgot to take into account the weight of the books that would be on the shelves in the library. So then they had to reinforce everything once the building was completed to actually just be able to bring books into the library. It's that kind of thing. They forgot about the horses, and so they had to improvise, and here's what they came up with. Yep.
Old woman! Ma'am, sorry. What knight lives in that castle over there?
I'm 37.
What?
I'm 37. I'm not old.
Well, I can't just call you man.
You could say Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you?
I did say sorry about the old woman, but from behind you looked...
What I object to is they automatically treat me like an inferior.
Well, I am king.
Oh, king, eh? Very nice. And how'd you get that, eh?
by exploiting the workers, by hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society. If there's ever going to be any progress...
We've got some lovely filth down here. Oh, how'd you do?
How do you do, good lady? I'm Arthur, King of the Britons. Whose castle is that?
King of the who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
Well, we all are. We are all Britons. And I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective.
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship. A self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes...
Oh, there you go, bringing class into it again.
Well, that's what it's all about. If only people would...
Please,
please, good people, I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What? I told you. We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting.
Yes, I see.
By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs.
Be quiet.
But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more...
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
Order, who does he think he is?
I am your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how'd you become king, then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king. Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Be quiet! Oh, but you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you. Shut up! I mean, if I went round saying I was an emperor, just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away. Shut up! Will you shut up? Ah, now we see the violence inherent in the system. Shut up! Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system! Help, help!
So
I'm being
the violence inherent in the system was for a certain generation that saw this movie, especially in England, this was whenever they had got into an argument with their parents. Oh, don't you see the violence inherent in the system? I have friends that will say that was their, that was their most famous line all through high school as young adults. But here we have one more scene.
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! Here's one. Ninepence.
I'm not dead.
What?
Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
I'm not dead.
Here. He says he's not dead.
Yes, he is.
I'm not.
He isn't?
Well, he will be soon. He's very ill.
I'm getting better.
No, you're not. You'll be stone dead in a moment. Oh, I can't take him like that. It's against regulations.
I don't want to go on the car.
Oh, don't be such a baby. I can't take him.
I feel fine.
Well, do us a favour.
I can't.
Well, can you hang around a couple of minutes? He won't be long.
No, I've got to go to Robinson's. They've lost 9 today.
Well, when's your next run?
Thursday.
You think I'll go for a walk?
You're not fooling anyone, you know. Look, isn't there something you can do?
I feel happy. I feel happy.
Oh, thanks very much.
That's all. See you on Thursday.
Right. Who's that then?
I don't know. Must be a king.
Why?
He hasn't got shit all over him.
So, here we're going to go to airplane. Now, this is the era of the sort of deadpan delivery. And there are only 2 people in the history of probably American cinema that can deliver a line as well deadpan as Leslie Nielsen that you see here. And the other one would be Charles Grodin. Both are gone now, but boy, did they make a lasting impression in the movies that they were in. And so he is on this plane and he's going to ask the pilot, he's playing the doctor, Leslie Nielsen. He's going to ask the pilot when they can land.
Captain, how soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
But can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
Okay. All right. Sure. Now, same actor.
Ludwig?
Edmund! Yeah, Drebin. I have a message for you from Vincent Ludwig.
I'm sorry I can't hear you. Don't fire the gun while you're talking.
What the hell were you doing there in the first place?
Yes, I know. I'm sorry about that, Your Honor, but we have reason to believe that Vincent Ludwig is involved in a plot to assassinate the Queen.
That's ridiculous. Where is this evidence?
Well, it burned in the fire.
Gentlemen, Vincent Ludwig is one of the most respected members of this community, and if we're all very nice to him, he will agree not to press charges.
Your Honor.
Did I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Honor, very clear. Good day.
Oh, Drebin, I don't want any more trouble like you had last year on the South Side. Understand? That's my policy.
Yes, well, when I see 5 weirdos dressed in togas stabbing a guy in the middle of the park in full view of 100 people, I shoot the bastards. That's my policy.
That was a Shakespeare in the Park production of Julius Caesar, you moron. You killed 5 actors. Good ones.
Your Honor.
Drebin, your presence at the Queen's reception tonight will not be necessary.
Now, do you think he's going to go to the Queen's reception? Unfortunately, yes.
Her Royal Highness, Queen Elizabeth II.
It's disgusting the way they splash this stuff all over the newspapers. What is journalism coming to? You're laying on top of the Queen with her legs wrapped around you, and they call that news. They can't kick you off the force, Frank. It's just not fair.
I know, Ed. Life isn't always fair. Just think, the next time I shoot someone, I could be arrested. Hey, look at that. The missing evidence in the Kellner case. My God, he was innocent.
He went to the chair 2 years ago, Frank.
Well.
So, now, before we get to stripes, I'm just going to say there are 2 things that medically have been proven to keep us young. The first is, well, laughter. The second is sex. But if your partner is laughing just before, during, or right after sex, it actually ages you astronomically. So it kind of really backfires. But when you think about this, right, what does indeed make you laugh? You know, what are the kind of people that make you laugh? We all have certain friends that almost everything out of their mouth, we just find funny. Strangely enough, we don't see that person often enough in our lives. We don't have people like that person. They're like the rare friend. The majority of our friends are people that don't make us laugh, that don't get our sense of humor, that, well, have a much more doom and gloom outlook on the world. And see, what does make comedy really special is that in the 20th century, right, some of the greatest comic plays, some of the greatest comedians, right, came to the forefront through television, the invention of television. But according to George Brandt, he said this: the fact that comedy has thrived in the 20th century seems in itself a paradox, since we have witnessed some of the greatest disasters in human history, such as worldwide economic crises, world conflicts. They certainly had the 1918 pandemic, right? Vietnam, fascism, systemic genocide, the invention of the fission and fusion bombs, the threat of biological and environmental warfare. And yet, comedians and movies that are comical in tone have thrived throughout all this immense chaos, right? It is pretty phenomenal that the human species, part of our ability to survive and adapt, is that we do have this gift of, well, being able to elicit laughter amongst ourselves. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing, right? And so Bill Murray is curious to me because, again, well, you would probably put him also in that category of someone who delivers a line like no one else delivers a line. And here he is. We've all had a job interview. We've all, maybe been nervous before the job interview. We've been asked some questions. Here's a job interview that you'll never forget.
Hey, this is a loading zone. You can't park here.
We're not parking it. We're abandoning it.
Can't believe we're doing this. Listen, if I get killed, my blood is on your hands.
Just don't get it on my shoes, okay?
Oh?
I'm not saying that the Army will be able to do for you what it did for me. All I'm saying is that you get out of it exactly what you put into it. Now, sometimes the Army's your best shot. Now, there's a couple of questions that I have to ask you. They're a little personal. Have you ever been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor? That's robbery, rape, car theft, that sort of thing.
Convicted?
Yeah. No.
Never convicted.
That's good. Good. Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming or?
Well, it's a standard question we have to ask.
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Yeah, would they send us someplace special?
Ay. Here we go. Hannah and her sisters.
What? Oh, my God!
I don't understand. I thought you would be happy.
How can we be happy?
But because I never thought of God in my life, now I'm giving it serious thought.
But Catholicism? Why not your own people?
Because I got off to a wrong foot with my own thing, but I need a dramatic change in my life.
You're gonna believe in Jesus Christ?
I know it sounds funny, but I'm gonna try.
But why? We raised you as a Jew.
So just because I was born that way, I'm old enough to make a mature decision.
But why Jesus Christ? Why, for instance, shouldn't you become a Buddhist?
That's totally alien to me. Look, you're getting on in years, right? Aren't you afraid of dying?
Why should I be afraid?
Because you won't exist.
So?
That thought doesn't terrify you?
Who thinks about such nonsense? Now I'm alive. When I'm dead, I'll be dead.
I don't understand. Aren't you frightened?
Of what? I'll be unconscious.
I know, but never to exist again?
How do you know?
But it certainly doesn't look promising.
Who knows what'll be? I'll either be unconscious or I won't. If not, I'll deal with it then. I'm not going to worry now about what's going to be when I'm unconscious.
Mom, come out.
Of course there's a God, you idiot. You don't believe in God?
But if there's a God, then why is there so much evil in the world? Well, just on a simplistic level, why were there Nazis?
Tell him, Max.
How the hell do I know why there were Nazis? I don't know how the can opener works.
Okay, he doesn't even know how the can opener works. So George Bernard Shaw said, when a thing is funny, search it carefully for a hidden truth. And that is so true that, why were there Nazis? It's something that's so absurd. It's just so incomprehensible that there could be the rise of such evil in the world. But hey, that evil has risen and it will continue to resuscitate or regenerate, or it will always come back, like the Phoenix, tragically. Hidden truths.
Go away!
What?
Are you the miracle Max who worked for the king all those years?
The king's stinking son fired me, and thank you so much for bringing up such a painful subject. While you're at it, why don't you give me a nice paper cut and pour lemon juice on it? We're closed! Beat it, or I'll call the brute squad.
I'm on the brute squad.
You are the brute squad.
We need a miracle. It's very important.
Look, I'm retired. And besides, why would you want someone the king's stinking son fired? I might kill whoever you wanted me to miracle.
He's already dead.
He is, huh? I'll take a look. Bring him in. I've seen worse.
Okay. Billy Crystal. All right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, because there's an airplane out there.
Yeah, that's right, and everybody's boarding. Let's go.
Airline travel is very dangerous.
But don't be silly. It's the safest travel in the world. You're gonna love this. Trust me.
Yeah.
Now, come on.
Oh, no.
Ray,
Yeah.
we're in an airport. People fly out of airports. What do you think we were doing here this whole time?
Yeah, flying's very dangerous. 1987, there were 30 airline accidents, 211 were fatalities, and 231 were death in the passengers.
Yeah, well, this plane is very safe. Believe me. Now, I gotta get to LA and I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
Ray,
don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
What, is it this airline?
Yeah.
Is it this airline?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We can, there's an American plane.
American Flight 625 crashed April 27th, 1976.
We don't have to take American. There's a lot of flights.
Yeah, take another airline.
Continental. We'll take the Continental.
Continental
Come on.
crashed November 15th, 1987. Flight 1713, 28 casualties.
This is very serious, Ray.
Yeah, very serious.
You see, I have to get to Los Angeles, right? So you're gonna get on that plane. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get on a plane.
Yeah, get on a plane.
Yeah. Now there's a Delta.
Yeah.
I mean, it leaves at midnight, Ray, you know, but Delta, how's Delta?
Yeah, Delta crashed August 2nd, 1985. Lockheed L-1011, Dallas, Fort
All right,
Worth.
Ray.
Terrible wind chill.
All airlines.
135 passengers.
All airlines have crashed at one time or another. That doesn't mean that they are not safe.
Qantas.
Qantas?
Qantas never crashed.
Qantas?
Never crashed.
Well, that's...
Never crashed.
I mean, that's gonna do me a lot of good, Ray.
Yeah.
You see, Qantas doesn't fly to L.A. out of Cincinnati. You have got to get to Melbourne.
Australia.
Melbourne, Australia, in order to get the plane that flies to Los Angeles. Do you hear me?
Canberra's a capital.
Let's
16.2 million
go.
population. Six very
Don't
lovely
give me a hard
beaches.
time. You and I are gonna get on this fucking plane. Right?
No.
We're not gonna take the plane. He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. We're not gonna take the plane. Just relax. He was upset. We were gonna take the plane. We're not gonna take the plane now. We're not gonna take the plane, Ray. We're not gonna fly. Okay?
No flying.
We're not gonna fly.
No flying.
You tire me, Ray.
Yeah.
We're gonna drive to Los Angeles. We're gonna drive to LA. Okay? Come on, Ray. Ray? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Here.
No flying.
Take the bag. We're not gonna take the plane, Ray. Just
Yeah.
grab the fucking bag.
No flying.
You're killing me, Ray. I just want you to know you are killing me, man.
No
I
flying.
gotta be in LA in 3 hours. It's gonna take me 3 days. Come on. Come on.
No flying.
No flying.
No flying. Of course, I got Jeopardy at 5 o'clock. I watch Jeopardy.
Don't start with that, Ray. Don't
Got
start.
Jeopardy at 5 o'clock.
So he's got Jeopardy at 5 o'clock. And so what makes comedy so special is when it is blended with, well, not necessarily tragedy, but with drama. And what we end up with is a dramedy. And Rain Man would be an example of a film that's extremely funny. I mean, throughout, it's like real laughter, but ultimately them going on the road, Tom Cruise's character really getting to know his brother, right? Charlie Babbitt getting to know his older brother that he didn't even know existed in the world. This is something that then becomes extremely touching. So now what he's got to do, it's 5 o'clock, he's got to find some place that he can watch his Judge Wapner and then watch his Jeopardy, because being autistic, he has his schedule. And this is something that Tom Cruise's character is coming to learn and, you know, being forced to deal with.
Come on. Come on. Now, you want to get in there and see the show? Huh? Huh? Raymond, you want to get in there and see the show? Then listen up. Got another farmhouse in sight. This is it, man. You act weird, we don't get in. Listen to me?
Yeah.
I want you to look normal. As normal as possible, all right? Look, just Raymond, put your hands down. Don't rock and moan.
4 minutes
Just
to
shut
Wapner.
up, Raymond. Just shut up and stand there.
Yeah.
Raymond, don't rock
Yeah.
and moan.
Yeah.
Put your hands down. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Donald Clemens from the A.C. Nielsen Company. You're familiar with our work?
Nielsen, you mean the TV rating?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly it. Now, you've been selected as a preliminary candidate to become our next Nielsen family in the Tri-County area.
Well, my husband's not
If
home.
selected, you'll share the responsibility for shaping television programming viewed by our entire nation, in return for which you'll receive a check in the amount of $286 each month.
Who's he?
That would be my partner, Mr. Bainbridge, who does the sample. That's it.
Oh, boy.
That's it. You blew it. You don't get to see a program. It's finished.
1 minute to Wapner.
1 minute to Wapner. 1 minute to Wapner. 1 minute to Wapner.
Dun,
I had you in there, Ray. You were in there.
Dun.
Defendants, plaintiffs, you had it all. They are in there making legal history, Ray. Legal history.
Oh, boy.
What is going on out here?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I lied. I'm very sorry about that. That man right there is my brother. And if he doesn't get to watch People's Court in about 30 seconds, he's going to throw a fit right here in your porch. Now, you can help me, or you can stand there and watch it happen.
Well, we like to watch cartoons. You think he'd settle for that?
And she sees an identical twin. True, he didn't have a shirt on, the other one did, but they sure look alike to me. If it got on his chest, even if it didn't burn, it got real cold. I know I put my hand on the dry ice up here. I wanted to take it off very quickly because it got very cold. I also confess I was afraid I might burn my hand if I take it and put it up against
Barry,
the bare
listen,
chest.
work with me on this one, and believe me, I am going to take care
I
of
don't
this.
think that she did anything that was negligent,
You know that song?
so my judgment is for you.
We'll be back for the great reaction to Marc Bobby's decision right after these messages.
And they're back on the road, right? Crazy. Well, here's probably one of the best closing lines to a scene in movie history, and it's delivered by Estelle Reiner, who is the mother of, Rob Reiner, who directs the movie. She's the wife of Carl Reiner, who recently passed away, who created the Dick Van Dyke Show and many other comedy moments, our shows. He worked with Sid Caesar, but he was a director in his own right. Carl Reiner did movies like The Jerk, Oh God, but very talented writer. Well, it certainly is in the genes throughout this family. Rob Reiner became a great director with movies like, When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, Princess Bride, still is working. And here his mother is immortalized with this one line that she is given at the end of this scene. But here we go. I will say, though, that the screenwriter, which was Nora Ephron, and I was fortunate enough to meet Nora Ephron when I lived in my New York days. I actually had a girlfriend who was their babysitter. And so I went over to pick her up one time, and I got to meet Nick Pileggi and Nora Ephron. And Nora Ephron's a terrific writer. Nick Pileggi is too. Nick Pileggi, Goodfellas, right? He worked on that script with Scorsese. But she definitely has a really, really rapier wit. But she's very generous to us now, where she says, the way it's phrased, that women on one occasion or another fake an orgasm. She could have been a lot more cruel, right, to men, if you know what I mean. It could have been a lot more often that the woman is forced to fake it to make her insecure lover feel good. But that's just me commenting on the writing. And I think she's extremely talented, but very generous to men in this scene.
Get up out of bed and leave?
Sure.
Well, explain to me how you do it. What do you say?
Just have an early meeting, early haircut, early squash game.
You don't play squash.
They don't know that. They just met me.
That's disgusting.
I know. I feel terrible.
You know, I'm so glad I never got involved with you. I just would have ended up being some woman you had to get up out of bed and leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and go clean your andirons. And you don't even have a fireplace. Not that I would know this.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
Yes, it is. You are a human affront to all women, and I am a woman.
Hey, I don't feel great about this, but I don't hear anyone complaining.
Of course not. You're out the door too fast.
I think they have an okay time.
How do you know?
I mean, how do I know? I know.
Because they...
Yes, because
How do you know that they're really?
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
Get out of here.
Why? Most women at one time or another have faked it.
Well, they haven't faked it with me.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Oh. Right. That's right. I forgot. You're a man.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It's just that all men are sure it never happened to them, and most women at one time or another have done it, so you do the math.
You don't think that I can tell a difference?
No.
Get out of here.
Oh. Ooh.
Are you okay?
Oh. Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh, yes. 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 Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's had.
Okay. Yay, yay. Now, the first time he walks by Bill Murray, the poor homeless man, he pretends like he has money. He's checking his pockets. Oh, I must be out. And he just, does the fake, I'm checking my pockets thing. And then he runs into somebody he hasn't seen in a long time, doesn't even remember. But because of the story premise, he lives the same day over and over, the same scene over and over. So what I'm going to do right here is through a special editing technique, I'm going to give you all these encounters all in a row that are interspliced throughout the movie, so you can sort of see the evolution of how he walks past the homeless guy.
Phil? Hey, Phil?
And meets the guy he doesn't want to meet.
Phil? Phil Connors? Phil Connors, I thought that was you.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for watching.
Hey. Now, don't you tell me you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you.
Not a chance.
Ned! Ryerson! Needle-nosed Ned the head? Come on, buddy. Case Western High. Ned Ryerson, I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show. Bing! Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year, almost didn't graduate. Bing! Again! Ned Ryerson, I dated your sister Mary Pat a couple times till you told me not to anymore. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Bing! So did you turn pro with that belly button thing, Ned, or
No,
what?
Phil, I sell insurance.
What a shock.
Do you have life insurance? Because if you do, you could always use a little more. Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Ned, I would love to stand here and talk with you, but I'm not going to. See you.
Hey, that's all right. I'll walk with you. You know, whenever I see an opportunity now, I charge it like a bull. Ned the Bull, that's me now. You know, I got friends of mine who live and die by the actuarial tables, and I say, hey, it's all one big crapshoot anywho. Tell me, have you ever heard of single premium life? Because I think that really could be the ticket for you. Oh, God! It is so good to see you. What are you doing for dinner?
Something else. It's been great seeing you, Needlehead. Take care.
Hey! Phil? Phil? Hey! Oh, Phil Connors. I thought that was you. My, oh my, Phil Connors. Now, don't you say you don't remember me, because I sure as heck fire remember you. Well?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing! Oh, first shot right out of the box. So, how's it going, old buddy?
Well, to say the truth, Nettie, I'm not feeling real well. Would you excuse me?
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention your health because you will never guess what I do now.
Do you sell insurance?
Oh, bing again! You are sharp as a tack today. Do you have life insurance, Phil? Because if you do, you could always use a little more, right? I mean, who couldn't? But you want to know something? I got the feeling you ain't got any. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Am I right?
I gotta go.
Phil?
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Phil! Phil Connors! I don't... Hey, Phil! Don't say you don't remember me because I sure as heck fire remember you. It's me, Ned Ryerson. Needle-nosed Ned in the head. Come on, buddy. Case what?
I think you was a glass is half empty kind of guy, am I right?
What would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered? That about sums it up for me. Catch you tomorrow, huh?
Hey! Phil? Phil? Hey! Phil Connors!
Ned?
And see, look what he's evolved into. He just gives them everything he's got, right? He goes from being someone totally callous, totally insensitive, and now he becomes a different person. And I guess if all of us could relive the same day over and over, eventually we'd get it right. We don't have that opportunity, so we sort of have to try to do our best in real time on this day. And if we blow it today, well, we do have a tomorrow. Maybe we can do better. But great comedies make us ultimately want to be better people. We realize that, yes, the world can't be taken too seriously, can't take ourselves too seriously, and yet there are needs of others that need to be addressed. And so here we're going to see the best way to sort of end this montage is what happens next.
Phil? Phil Connors? I thought it was you.
Ned Ryerson.
Yes.
I have missed you so much. I don't know where you're headed, but can you call in sick?
I gotta get going. It's good to see you, Phil.
And he has it done. Okay. I want to show you this interesting clip. Oops, I have to open. Oh, somebody had a hand up. I'm sorry. Somebody had a hand up. If you would like.
Beverly, if you want to unmute.
Oops. Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
Beverly,
did you have a question or a comment you wanted to make?
No, I didn't have a question or comment.
Oh, okay. Sorry, there was a hand signal from you. All right. Well, here we go.
Jesus Christ. You almost gave me a heart attack.
What are you guys doing here so late?
You're a cocky son of a bitch, aren't you?
Look, man, if you're still mad about the banana thing, I'm sorry, all right? I just need a little time to myself. I just wish I would have saw the expression on your face when the car conked out.
Yeah, very funny. Lieutenant Doctor's 2 days' pay.
Get out of here. He's not kidding.
No, he's not kidding. By the way, thanks for the sandwich.
He meant it as a joke, Billy, like the bananas.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm a fellow police officer. I know what it's like to be on a stakeout. When I sent that food down to you guys, that was from the heart.
Bullshit.
Why are we always arguing, man? Look, all three of us are cops. We should be working together. We all had a very rough day today. What do you say we all go get something to drink and make up and be friends, huh?
Forget it.
Okay, fuck it then. I'm gonna go get something to drink, though, all right? You guys can try to follow me if you want to do that. But I lost y'all once today, which means I can do this shit again. So why don't you say, we just go get something to drink together? Let's be friends.
We don't drink on duty.
Okay, fine. All right, now listen to me. I found the perfect place. I saw it on the way over here today. It's perfect for you guys. You can go. It's very conservative, and you guys will love it. Don't worry. It's nice. Trust me.
So what happens is he takes them to a strip club, and in the strip club, there's going to be a robbery, and our friend Eddie Murphy, right, saves the day. These cops had no clue, these Los Angeles police officers, but the guy from out of town, the Detroit cop, he knew what was going on. So now he's going to try to cover for them. And a lot of this is improvised. You're going to see that the actors, well, the two white cops are kind of breaking character because Eddie Murphy is just so funny to work with anyway.
Taggart, would you mind explaining to me what you and Rosewood were doing in a strip bar out of our jurisdiction when you were still on duty?
Sir, before you chastise these two officers, I think it's something you should know. The only reason that they were at a strip bar is because they were tailing me and I went to this place. Now, these two officers were sitting outside wondering what I was doing. I wasn't having a good time. I'm into things like that. Anyway, these guys waited outside, and the only reason that they came in was because they saw two suspicious-looking gentlemen with bulges in their jackets going into the place. Well, it turns out that these guys were going to commit a robbery, sir. These men watched them, waited for them to make their move, and then they foiled the crime. I did not know what was going on. I was watching the show, having fun. I'm still freaked out by it. You must have a sixth sense. I don't know what you teach these fellows, but they're not just regular cops, okay? They're super cops. And the only thing missing on these guys are capes.
Is this what really happened?
No, sir.
Would someone like to tell me what really happened?
Well, Foley invited us to this bar. We accepted.
We ordered club sodas, sir.
Right. And while we were there, Foley observed the two suspects casing the establishment. And before we knew what was going on, he'd already disarmed one of them. Detective Foley deserves all the credit for the arrest.
Detective Foley, we appreciate your assistance, but in the future, if you want to practice law enforcement, I would prefer you did it in Detroit.
I understand, sir. I'm sorry. But before I go, I just want you two to know something, all right? That the super cop story was working, okay? It was working, and you guys just messed it up, okay? I'm trying to figure you guys out, but I haven't yet. But it's cool.
You will eventually, right? Okay, we're sort of getting to the end of our hour and a half here, but I want to, in case you have some questions or comments or some films you want to recommend, what I will say to you is, let's go to my friend Meryl Streep here, and we will go to The Devil Wears Prada.
Chairman Elias Clark, Mayor of Rabbits. You know what they say? Tiny man, huge ego.
No.
Now, what makes this funny, this whole scene, is probably knowing a little bit of background on the actual production of The Devil Wears Prada. They were expecting, the producers of the film, for Meryl Streep to show up with her long blonde hair. They were expecting her to not have gray hair. They were expecting her to have longer hair, not short hair. And the script was written where almost every line out of Amanda Priestley's mouth is screamed. That's sort of how she talks to people. She screams at them. She's hell on wheels around the office. Meryl Streep, when she was asked, can you grow your hair long and dye it back blonde? She just looked at her producers with a laser look that kind of made their hearts stop. And they said, oh, I guess that's not going to happen. And then they realized that she wasn't going to take on the role the way it was written. Now, one thing about Meryl Streep that you might want to sort of relish is that she's someone who, if she's in agreement with you on how the production, how the character should be, realized on screen, everything's hunky-dory. But if you, as a director, you could be a Yale, graduate student when she was at the Yale School of Drama, you could be a Yale professor, you could be a visiting practitioner of theater, somebody big like Jerry Zaks or somebody who comes in to direct her at the Yale School of Drama. She is going to do it her way, not your way. And most directors said, well, you know what? You're going to fall on your face, go right ahead. But every single one of them, and this goes into her film career, who've disagreed with the way that she actually approached her characters, said, you know what? At the end of the day, she was 100% right. I was wrong. I haven't been able to find one director who said, oh, Meryl Streep blew it if she had just done it my way, the way I was trying to direct her. They tried to direct her another way. So in this one, instead of yelling, it's when she lowers her voice that everyone gets really terrified. It's a fun scene to watch, and we'll sort of end it on Meryl.
And I've seen all this before.
Deskins is trying to reinvent the drugway, so actually
Where are all the other dresses?
we have some right here, and then
And
Armani.
watch and listen.
And I think it can be very interesting with...
No, it's just baffling to me. Why is it so impossible to put together a decent run-through? You people have had hours and hours to prepare. It's just so confusing to me. Where are the advertisers?
we have some pieces from Banana Republic.
Well, we need more, don't we? Oh, this might be. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, you know me. Give me a full ballerina skirt and a hint of saloon, and I'm on board.
But do you think it's too much like...
Like a La Croix from July? I thought that, but no, not with the right accessories. It should work.
Where are the belts for this dress? Why is no one ready?
Here. It's a tough call. They're so different.
Something funny?
No, nothing's, it's just that both those belts look exactly the same to me, I'm still learning about this stuff and,
This stuff? Oh, okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back. But what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. And you're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns. And then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets? I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
Some tragic casual corner, right? Anyway, Frederick Dürrenmatt was a Swiss dramatist, and his definition of comedy is this: it's the only thing that can still reach us. So whatever your sense of humor is, I hope there were a few clips that you enjoyed. Not everybody finds the same thing funny. It's a very personal thing. It's very subjective, but universally, the world has found, certainly in his era, Charlie Chaplin funny. They find people like Mel Brooks funny, but the true mark of a great artist and will the comedy survive is if it transcends the time in which it was created. And for some of you, The Kid, for example, transcended the time in which it was created. For others, it might have remained back in 1921, and you don't quite get it, why audiences were finding that humorous. I will say this, what wasn't humorous about the kid is the story of Jackie Coogan. Jackie Coogan was worth about $4 million in the 1920s. He was only 5 years old. He was amazing. And the kid, amazing little actor. And his parents squandered it all. They went on trips, you know, luxury cruises, bought houses, cars, jewelry, clothes, lavish parties and dinners, went through it all and thought that they had a right to go through it all. So if you know about the Jackie Coogan law that came out of his sad situation, is that, parents can't just be the trustees of their child star children's fortunes. They have to, invest it, the majority of it, so that it becomes a trust, so that when this kid, he or she grows up and becomes of, a reasonable age, post, 21 and older, and they can make their own decisions, that money's there for them. After all, they earned it, right? So does anybody have anyone have any comments or questions? I don't know. I wasn't able to look at the chat because you're kind of, I'm not able to see it, but.
Yeah, Rose was asking, what do you think of the Marx Brothers as comedians?
Well, they're great. I think the Marx Brothers are terrific. I mean, they're an ensemble. You get all the brothers, right? Harold Lloyd is terrific. Buster Keaton might be probably the most daring and most sophisticated of all. If any of you want to see just a few of his things, I can give you a little bonus of Buster Keaton, but that's up to you. But yeah, I mean, do you like the Marx Brothers? The one who asked the question?
That was Rose. Yeah, Rose is thumbs up on that.
Yeah, because Rose, Duck Soup, they're all great. They're all great, And so Woody Allen, pays tribute to them in several of his movies. All of the great comedy practitioners that came in our era, when we were growing up and that are working today, they're all standing on the shoulders of the Buster Keatons, the Harold Lloyds, the Charlie Chaplins, and the Marx Brothers. I mean, the Marx Brothers were there was a zaning energy to their work that just nobody else could match, right? It was wonderful. But anyway.
Yeah, and the Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy, Frito.
Oh yeah, Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges. I mean, they're so violent towards each other, but as kids, we used to watch that on reruns all the time, like when we get home from school. And again, you kind of do the thing with your friends and kind of hit each other. It was quite crazy. But those guys were mainly shorts. They were not feature films. They did a few features, but not many. They appeared in features, but they were sort of the short burst. And kind of what they were up to and what they were about, the Three Stooges, you can only sort of take it in a short burst. It's not something that really sustains itself, that kind of violent humor over a long, 2 hour and 45-minute movie. So they were in their perfect kind of niche, but they didn't make a whole lot. I mean, the Stooges were kind of exploited by the studio. I mean, they made decent money, but then finally it wasn't very good money at all. And one of them that came to them later, the one who played Joe, you would think was oh, well, who was he? Well, when some of them died, like Curly died, and then Shemp, didn't want to do it anymore. When they got Joe, because of his contract with the studio, ended up making much more money per little short film that they did with the established stars of Larry and Moe. They were making much less than what Joe was making. And who was Joe, right? But, good for him making more money. But I mean, they should have all made more money. That's just the way this studio system sometimes operates, right?
Well, Cynthia, I saw you, Lucille Ball was one of my favorites too. Cynthia, I see you have your hand up.
Well, yeah. I just wanted to say, comedy is very personal, but comedy kind of has to be grounded in truth. It's like in The Godfather, after that scene where they strangle the guy in the car, and then the guy says to him, "What do you want to do?" And he says, "Leave the gun and take the cannoli." And I mean, that's right. A funny line in the sense of we're just seeing a tragedy. And I think that's what comedy kind of grounds into.
Right. Right. I mean, just a little slight correction, only because it's The Godfather, two of my favorite films. He shoots the guy in the head. There's another scene where a guy's garrot, you know, the garrot, right? He does that to, you know, the brother-in-law. But
right.
the same moment that you're talking about is Jack Nicholson in The Shining, when he breaks the door down with the fireman's axe, right, to kill his wife, and says, "Honey, I'm home." That's what he says, "Honey, I'm home." And then he breaks the bathroom door down and says, "Here," you know, he's parts of it broke down. "Here's Johnny." That's what he says. So in the middle of all this terrifying, right, something funny is sort of what Philip K. Dick said. I mean, it kind of heightens the terror that this guy has the nerve to be comical in a moment where he's being so absolutely terrifying. And I'm talking about Jack Torrance in The Shining, played by Jack Nicholson. So she's absolutely right. That kind of blending, if you can do it right, boy, is that masterful surgery on the part of the dramatist, screenwriter, right, director, whoever it is. But it's all in the timing too. I mean, one thing, the reason I showed you, you know, Eddie Murphy, is that, you know, some of them they ad lib. They go beyond the script. When he was looking down and he's kind of laughing, you know, he's trying to disguise it that he's embarrassed, but he's just trying to hide his laughter because he went off book. And yeah, Eddie Murphy was, I mean, certainly when he was at the top of his talent, he was, you know, 48 Hours, all those movies were really, really funny.
But like
Beverly
a lot
Hills
of those,
Cop.
a lot of the shows, like remember Carol Burnett, like those were right there live. They would just crack up in the middle of their show.
Yeah.
I mean, they would just
Well,
like they lose it. Yeah.
Tim
And
Conway with Harvey Korman,
Yes.
especially. You're right.
Yes.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Those two, especially the one to watch, you know, you can YouTube it, is the one where he's the dentist, you know, and he's giving him some Novocaine or whatever, but he keeps sticking himself, Tim Conway, the dentist, and Harvey Korman is in the chair as the patient, and he can't keep a straight face, Harvey Korman, but boy, Tim Conway does the whole way. But, you know, if he accidentally gets his hand and his arm goes limp, but then, you know, his leg goes limp, he accidentally sticks his leg, then he can't walk. I mean, yeah. And so that kind of comedy, that kind of physical comedy, that's a special brand of comedy too. There's like a lot of comedy where it's like the line is funny or the way the line is delivered is funny, right? And then that's the person who delivers it. Like nobody else would have delivered a line in such a funny way. But then when it gets into physical comedy too, you know, that's a whole nother talent. Dick Van Dyke was somebody that could kind of do it all. He was someone who could dance, he could sing, he could do drama, he could do comedy, but he was real great at physical comedy because his body was able to do all these kinds of stunts. I mean, he just had great body control, and he was not trained as a dancer. Even though he was a great dancer, he was somebody who just danced. He started dancing because he got cast in a role like Bye Bye Birdie or whatever, where it said, well, you know, you're going to have to dance. So that he took up dancing, but he was not a trained dancer. That's what I've read. That's what makes him so special. Because I mean, he really was a gifted, all around Renaissance man of well, drama, theater, film, television, the stage. He could do it all. And he's still alive. He's like 90, well, he's 97 this year. He's born 1925. Sometime this year will be 97. Very fat, you know, amazing. Mel Brooks is still alive. What's his name? You know, Norman Lear is still alive, well into his 90s. I mean, and look at the shows that Norman Lear, in addition to All in the Family, but Maude and others, Good Times. He had such a great comic genius, and in a sense gave such an opportunity to so many other people, from a black family and all, you know, in Good Times to and you know, Sanford and Son, all that too, but also Maude. I mean, a strong woman. How many really strong women have their own shows? You know, One Day at a Time, that was his show too. It was 3 women. There was no real man except tangentially Schneider or whatever his name was, who was the superintendent of the building. So, I mean, these opportunities, what makes a great comic, you know, producer is that you understand that there's all these reserves of talent that have not been tapped yet. And so comedy was for the most part in the hands of men, male practitioners. And that's why when you mentioned Lucille Ball, she is beyond important. Not only in the world of television, but especially in the world of television, but also in the world of film. that she was someone who always did everything on her terms in an era where no women were, doing anything on their own terms, especially in the world of television. But she somehow carved her niche, and it was mainly done because of her, intelligence, cleverness, vision, but her talent kind of was her ticket to writing her own script, so to speak. And many others, they just don't have that. So we'll never really know what their true potential was. With Lucille Ball, she realized her true potential in her career. And she would appear later on with Carol Burnett on the Carol Burnett show. That whole thing with the cleaning ladies. I mean, that was with Lucille Ball. That was a beautiful
Yeah, and
duet.
Cynthia added in that the most sustained laugh in TV history is the Gone with the Wind sketch on the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah, I saw these. I just saw it hanging in the window or whatever.
Yeah,
and I had to have it. Right, that was terrific. She's right.
I mean, you could do a whole hour on that, and also, as you can't not talk about Seinfeld and Larry David. I mean, those are shows about nothing, but you just can relate to everything on those shows.
I know. And he takes it even farther, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, because he's on cable, and so he can actually even go push the envelope further.
Yeah, there's always Larry David moments. Yeah,
they're all really talented. In the movie, The Show of Shows, Peter O'Toole said comedy is hard, death is easy. Well, that's a great line. Comedy is hard, death is easy. I love it. Mel Brooks is great. The movie is satire. If someone is offended, they do not understand. I understand exactly what you're saying, but again, different generations kind of process things differently, and we got to, I guess, give them their room to do it. But I know people that I knew from years ago that would say when it came out, they hated Groundhog Day. They didn't think it was funny at all. They hated that movie. I said, what do you mean? This is really, from a writing point of view, it's just so clever. What are you, crazy? To come up with all that and the way it crisscrosses? I said, it's ingenious. And then it literally would be like 15 years later, I get a phone call out of the blue. Hey, Mark, I just want you to know my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I saw, Groundhog Day the other night. And you know what? You were right. You were right. I don't know why I didn't see that. And it just sometimes takes people a little time to realize what these artists are trying to get across. Hence, that's why there's always a lag. The poor artist dies in poverty, and then his paintings or her paintings are worth a fortune years after their passing. Right. And who's benefiting now? Well, it would have been nice if a little bit of that gravy could have been, delivered to the artist in his or her lifetime. Doesn't always work out that way. Yes, go ahead. Yes, Rose.
And I see you, Maxim, also. So go ahead, Rose.
How about Red Skelton?
He was terrific too, and he was both movies and TV. I used to watch Red Skelton as a kid. I loved his show as a kid. I loved the Dean Martin Comedy Hour as a kid.
Yeah.
The Dean Martin thing, what was funny about that is that he never rehearsed. He would be playing golf the whole time. Somebody would be his stand-in the entire week of rehearsal, and he would just come in when they were filming. Somehow he would, do it. I mean, he'd go off book, whatever. But Dino was a cool character, Dean Martin. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis.
Well, do you want to see a funny Jerry Lewis clip? Did I ever show you the Jerry Lewis clip that is an incident that happened to him in real life? Did I ever show you that? Did I ever show your group that?
No.
All right, I'll show it to you really quickly because it is pretty funny. Yeah, okay, let me just get to it. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me get, and it's up on screen now, right here. This is a true.
Hey, Jerry!
Now, in the movie, The King of Comedy, directed by Scorsese, he's playing Johnny Carson. He's a talk show host who's really successful. But this moment at the end that you see really happened to Jerry Lewis in real life. And that's why Martin Scorsese heard about this and incorporated it into the film.
How are you? You're looking good. You should see me in my white taffeta. You're doing some great shows, Jerry. Thanks a lot. Oh, you're... How about put me on your show? Yeah, I could have used you last night. Hi there.
Morris, you will not believe who's coming down the hill. Jerry Langford, right?
Right.
Oh, Morris, please hold on. Jerry, would you please sign my sign my magazine for me?
Yeah.
You're just wonderful. I've watched you your entire career. You're a joy to the world. Please, Morris, would you just please say something to my nephew Morris on the phone? He's in the hospital.
I'm
and
sorry, I'm
anything
late.
You should only get cancer. I hope you get cancer.
And that really happened. That encounter really took place.
Wow.
You're a joy to the world. You're a joy to the world. And then she said you should only get cancer. I hope you get cancer.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Maxim, I see your hand was up.
Yeah, you spoke about the most of the things I wanted to talk about, but there's one movie. It's not quite as popular as all those, but it's The Birds with Tom Hanks and the late Carrie Fisher. I don't know if you know that one. Yeah, it's about
look. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's about the people. They're living in the suburbs, and he's on vacation, so he decides not to go on vacation, to just stay home and relax. But his neighbors, they very curious about everyone else. So what they do, they break into this man's house, cause an explosion, and the police comes. Turns out he actually is a criminal, but they didn't know it. It was just their curiosity got the best of them. It kind of reminded me of my neighbors.
Well,
That's why I like it.
Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, they're both, they can be really funny, both of them. There's a lot of good, I mean, there's so many movies out there that could be in this lineup. And I mean, there are more in the longer versions of these, but yeah, you absolutely are right. Tom Hanks, you know, big is funny. He's very funny. Man with One Red Shoe. He has some really funny moments in that one. It's a remake of a French film. Yeah, and of course Steve Martin. But you know, Woody Allen has so many funny movies. I mean, the one where he's being interviewed, where he's on the run and take the money and run, and the person interviewing for a job, it's like a Poindexter type. He says, "Have you ever worked in an office before?" You know, he's a bank robber on the run, and he goes, "Yes, I have." He goes, "What kind of an office was it?" And Woody Allen's character says, "Rectangular." That's what he says. Have you ever operated a high-speed digital electronic computer before? This is 1960, you know, 9. And he goes, "Yes, yes, I have." You know, he's lying through his teeth. "Where was that, sir?" My aunt had one. That's the way he answers it. I mean, everything in that movie, you're just laughing. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and a few people, Armand and Connie, are Pink Panther fans. I mean, Pink Panther movies were, you know, great.
Elf is funny. The Pink Panthers, that whole thing is very funny. Peter Sellers is funny. I mean, the reason I showed him to you in, you know, Dr. Strangelove, he was the president, he was Dr. Strangelove, and he was also Group Captain Lionel Mandrake. He was supposed to play Major Kong, the Slim Pickens role, but he either got injured, he was injured, or he faked injury. Some say he faked injury because he's so exhausted, he didn't want to play all 4 roles, but he was it was intended that he would play 4 roles, right? So, and they're such different characters. I mean, he was a great comic talent. Died relatively young, of course, in his early 50s. In the one Clouseau movie, when the guy says to him, he's talking to, you know, he says, "Would you like to see the body, Inspector?" And his response was, "I would be delighted." That's what he says. Delighted to see the body. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The Pink Panther movies belong in here. I'm looking up